We begin tonight with the city of Los Angeles now finalizing its plans to boycott the entire state of Arizona, to suspend all travel to Arizona by city employees, to terminate more than $7 million worth of contracts that the nation's second largest city, LA, has with Arizona companies. A full economic boycott of the state. The LA City Council approved the boycott yesterday. It goes into effect as soon as the city's mayor officially approves it, something he has indicated that he plans to do. LA's boycott of Arizona would be a remarkable enough story on its own, but the exclamation point on this story becomes evident when you look at the calendar. It's mid-May right now, right? Every single year at this time, the NBA playoff season is underway. And if you follow the NBA playoffs, you will know that the Eastern Conference Finals matchup is still being sorted out, but the Western Conference Finals matchup is set. And you should prepare for yet more politics breaking out into your sports.
Reggie, it sets up the Western Conference Final, and a good one between the Phoenix Suns and the LA Lakers.
Phoenix versus Los Angeles. Awkward, right? What are the chances, right? The largest city in California, LA, which has just approved a full-on boycott of Arizona, now set to face off in the playoffs against the largest city in Arizona, Phoenix, in the do-or-die, winner-take-all Western Conference Finals. Game one of the series is Monday in L.A., but consider how grateful the city of Phoenix must be at this point that any of the games are due to be in Phoenix at all. This week, the mayor of Phoenix, again, Arizona's largest city, said his city is facing, quote, near economic crisis because of lost revenue from organizations canceling events in Phoenix in response to the new Papers, Please immigration law. Near economic crisis. Despite the near economic crisis they have thrown the state's largest city into, Republican politicians who support the new Papers, Please law apparently see too much political advantage in it to walk away now. Take Arizona Senator John McCain. Before this great temptation came along, Senate Bill 1070, this rosy red apple in the garden that was too irresistible to not support, John McCain was the nation's leading example of Republican moderation on the issue of immigration. In 2005, for example, he teamed up with Democratic Senator Ted Kennedy, yes, Ted Kennedy, to introduce comprehensive immigration reform in the United States Senate, legislation that, among other things, offered a path towards citizenship for those who are now in this country illegally. While his fellow Republicans derided that as amnesty, John McCain bucked his party with "I used to be a maverick" rhetoric like this.
No wall, no barrier, no censor, no barbed wire will ever stop people from trying to do what is a basic human yearning of all human beings all over the world, and that is to have better lives for themselves and their families.
John McCain forged a righteous reputation as a famous moderate on the issue of immigration. It's in part why Republicans thought they might have a chance of him winning the presidency in 2008. They thought he would not be a completely untenable choice for Latino voters. But now in 2010, John McCain, facing a primary challenge from the right, has decided that he not only supports the new Papers, Please immigration law, he's now casting himself in his TV ads as essentially a vigilante Minuteman on the border. You might have seen his latest campaign ad, which has gotten a ton of national attention, mostly because I think people think it's funny.
Drug and human smuggling, home invasions, murder.
We're outmanned. Of all the illegals in America, more than half come through Arizona.
Have we got the right plan?
Plan's perfect. You bring troops, state, county, and local law enforcement together.
And complete the dang fence.
It'll work this time. Senator, you're one of us.
I'm John McCain, and I approve this message.
Okay, here's the problem with this ad. Number one, John McCain, until really recently, was against the danged fence that he's now campaigning on. Remember that clip you just heard of Senator McCain in 2006 saying, "No wall, no barrier will ever stop people from coming across the border"? John McCain also quoted in Vanity Fair in 2007, telling an audience in Milwaukee, and excuse my language here, quote, "By the way, I think the fence is least effective, but I'll build the G-damned fence if they want it." Woohoo! Ringing endorsement for that danged border fence that now must be built. So that's problem numero uno with this ad. Problem numero 2-0. You see the sheriff that he's with in the ad, Sheriff Paul Babeu. Now, that is a real sheriff. Sheriff Babeu is not, however, the sheriff of where he and John McCain are standing in that ad. In fact, he's the sheriff of a county that is not on the border. Sheriff Babeu is the sheriff of Pinal County, Arizona, which is up there. Where John McCain physically is in that ad is in Nogales, which is actually in Santa Cruz County. The actual sheriff of the real Santa Cruz County joins us as our guest now. Santa Cruz County Sheriff Antonio Estrada. Sheriff Estrada, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I really appreciate your time, sir.
Rachel, thank you for having me.
The reason I wanted to talk to you tonight, Sheriff, is because Senator McCain's new advertisement leaves the impression that law enforcement officials, particularly the sheriff on the border where that ad was shot, would be in favor of the border fence. Are you in favor of the border fence?
I'm not a fan of fences at all. As a matter of fact, you know, when they started setting the fence here in the urban area, what they did is they created more problems for us. The traffic, the activity we never had as a sheriff's office in rural areas, we started seeing problems as a result of that. People were being pushed into these areas, and we started having people that were dying out there, that were being assaulted out there. There were a lot of things that were happening that previously had not happened before when the fence wasn't set up. So it has created some very unique and special challenges for that. So a fence to us is not a solution. At least it's not a solution for the rural sheriffs as far as I'm concerned.
Aside from the border fence, Senator McCain also advocates in that advertisement, again, shot in your county, he advocates sending 3,000 National Guard troops to the border. Again, in your county where this was shot, in your professional opinion, are thousands of National Guard troops what you need there?
You know what? I think Border Patrol is what we need. We have had troops here before. They have been in a support role here in Santa Cruz County. They have been very helpful to Border Patrol, and I think they've been welcomed here by the community as well. However, I don't think they should be placed here in the border to be making contact and having confrontations with anybody coming across the border. In a support role, I have no problem with that.
Sheriff, we know that there are some law enforcement officials in Arizona who are in favor of the state's new immigration law, SB 1070. We know there are some law enforcement officials who are against it. What's your opinion of the new law?
It's absurd. I'm totally against it, and I really hope it goes away. It's like a nightmare. I think it's something we cannot afford to be straddled with. It's just something that's overwhelming for us. You know, this phenomenon with illegal immigration is going to take a lot of efforts. Immigration reform, guest worker program, there's a lot of things that have to be done, and we cannot, as a small agent, especially here along the border, we cannot afford to be having another level of responsibility and jurisdiction. So it's something we cannot afford. We're not prepared for it. We're not trained for it. And we shouldn't be doing federal work. Border Patrol and the agencies down here don't do our work. They don't investigate domestic violence, thefts, and vandalism. So we should not be doing Border Patrol work. I think they are trained. They're prepared. They do a good job. They just need more help down here.
Sheriff, as you know, this is an election year, and it seems like what Arizona has done with this immigration law has made politicians coast to coast who are on the conservative side of the spectrum try to seem tougher on immigration by supporting it. I know you're not a political man, you're a law enforcement officer, but do you think there's any hope for anything positive coming out of this process, or do you think this is really more politics-oriented than it is solutions-oriented now?
Well, you know, I hope we can ride the wave on this. I hope that something does come out of it. But I do hope that Senate Bill 1070 does go away. But hopefully, as a result of that publicity, that uproar that has created, it will have some positive effect. I'm hoping that. I know that politicians are jumping on the bandwagon on this. They're trying to take advantage of this particular issue. And in one way or another, I certainly hope that we have something good come out of it. You know, the people that are coming across this border right now, and the focus with this particular bill is the poorest people. You know, they're coming from extreme poverty. They're hardworking people. They're noble people, and they're also, you know, family orientated. You know, these are the kind of people that they're focusing, not on the criminals. Every state here in America has laws against criminals, whether they live here or they're here illegally, and I think that's the way to deal with it. But I think they're focusing on the good people that are trying to do good things and trying to make a living for themselves and their families, and I really have a lot of compassion for that.
Santa Cruz County Sheriff Antonio Estrada, thank you so much for your time and your insight tonight, sir. It's good to have you on the program, and it's good to have your voice added to this national debate. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.